A 50-inch vertical is one of the most unattainable records in all of sports. King Dak holds the world record, and his is just over a 50. So does NBA player Shaedon Sharpe really have a 49-inch vert? I mean, look at some of these dunks. He's clearly one of the most athletic players in the league, if not the most. This is well documented, and if you do a Google search on it, you just have to scroll down for a little bit before you find this Reddit page that talks about a quote from Pacers VP who says he doesn't quite have that vert. And the Twitter user is a verified account who's worked for some pretty reputable news organizations, so it's not just a random guy. That being said, I do still think Sharpe has around a 45-inch vert, if not more, but you have to understand how insanely rare that is to even get to that number. And he can even get his head to the rim, but when you remember that he's 6'5", you realize he would have to get his head way above the rim in order to have a 49-inch vert. Another guy who's in this range is Keon Johnson, who set an NBA Combine record of 48 inches in the 2021 draft class. And how would we even dispute that? I mean, it was at the NBA Draft Combine of all places, so of course it's official, and many news organizations reported on it. But the Combine stats themselves directly contradict this. The most common way to artificially inflate your vertical is by not reaching up all the way, and as you can see, he's 6'4" 3/4 with shoes, has a 6'7" 1/4 wingspan, and a max reach of 8'1". In that same draft class, James Bouknight was the same height with shoes, 6'4" 3/4 with a 6'8" 1/4 wingspan, and had a standing reach of 8 feet 5.5 inches. Tell me how one more inch of wingspan allowed him to reach 4.5 inches higher. Realistically, if he had reached up all the way, Johnson's standing reach should be about 8'5", which subtracts 4 inches from his vertical, meaning he has probably about a 44. And I know what you're thinking right about now. Are you just some random guy on the internet? What's your pedigree to be talking about NBA players and why their verts aren't real? Well, I'm a 5'8" dunker who does dunk contests and dunk shows, but before all that, last year I posted a video of me testing my vertical and I got 48 inches. Or at least that's what I thought until all the pro dunkers that actually know what they're talking about started frying me in my comment section. And in retrospect, something was definitely wrong with that test. I still don't know what it was to this day. I just know I went there, took an officially proctored test, and that was the result. And it wasn't me cheating my reach because I actually did a video on TikTok later of me measuring my standing reach in shoes, and it was a 1/4 inch lower than it was that day, meaning that my vert's actually a 1/4 inch higher. In the following weeks, I couldn't test any higher than a 43 or 44 inch vert on the vert tree in the exact same gym, but I just chalked that up to it being post-workout. Realistically, that probably didn't have much of an effect at all. The point that I'm trying to make is it's very easy to mess up a vert test. All the people around you can think everything is going exactly right, while certain factors that are really important are being ignored. To be honest, the only place that I truly trust every single time is Dunk Camp, because they've been so good about making sure everything is perfect and legit every single time. I think it also really speaks to the power of the dunking community. People who watch jumping every single day get a really good grasp of who has what vertical or who doesn't. I realized this when I made a video on Wilt Chamberlain a while ago explaining how he didn't have a 50-inch vert, and the amount of people defending him was crazy. The amount of people who didn't understand what a low angle was, the fact that him doing track doesn't automatically mean we need to believe everything, or just the simple fact that Wilt was a very well-known embellisher. Now, the point of this video isn't just to rehash my beef with my old pal Wilt. I just simply wanted to point out the fact that vertical testing can get messed up really easily, and the eye test is almost always going to be a better measure. Also, for dunkers like myself, we have the ability to specialize, which NBA players do not. So an NBA player having a 40-inch vertical is actually crazy when you think about it, because I have the chance to do all the strength training and plyos specifically for it. They have to play games and do all these other things that are contributing to CNS fatigue. But if there are two things I want you to learn from this video, the first is that a player needs a vert test and to pass the eye test in order to really be believed as having a certain vertical. The second is that it's going to be a very long time before we see NBA players that are even touching the type of stuff that Isaiah Rivera, King Dak, Jordan Kilgannon, Jordan Sutherland are doing, because they have the ability to specialize. NBA players have so many different parts of their game that they're trying to improve, so the aforementioned names have all this time to be able to put their dedication and hard work into achieving a vertical. And it truly does put into perspective how insanely rare and impressive it is to achieve that. It gives me an added appreciation for how hard those people work and the amount of talent. If you made it this far in the video, I really appreciate it. I don't normally do long form content like this, but I just like making dunking and jumping related videos, period. So thank you for watching, and let me know if you have any questions about dunking or jumping.